Believe we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another show. It's the bye week show. This one we're gonna have a little bit of fun. Typically, I would have a guest come on. I still may do something with a guest, but it'll be pre-recorded if I decide to do that. But I felt like it was necessary to go through player grades or team grades, and I want to go by position group. I want to go by. I want to do coaches as well, and I'm going to do the head coach, which is Coach Traylor. I'm going to do the offensive coordinator, and I'm going to do the defensive coordinator. I think we have. I like that the season is broken up the way it is. We got non-conference at the front. You got a bye week, and then conference starts. I like the way that goes, so I think it helps us do things like these. Don't expect a huge crowd today, so we're going to go. We'll see how long we go on this one. So I'm going to run through the grades first, and then I'll get to any questions you guys may have. Like I said, it's bye week. I don't expect a ton of activity in the chat, but if you guys are here, leave a like on that video and subscribe to the channel while you are here. Anyway, so with that being said, I want to start with. Let's see. We're going to go with position groups first, or we're going to go. I'm going to start with the position groups. It sucks because there's some of these position groups. Well, the position group of quarterback, it's going to be down to one player, but so that's going to be like a sneak peek to a player grade. I'm going to have the player grades in my Discord. That's going to be a lot more transparent about how I'm grading players, in that first few games. But anyway, I'm going to go for the quarterback position. And for the quarterback position, I'm going to go with a C+. I purposely did not do any of these grades before because I wanted to sort of give my thoughts on them as they came in. I did a little bit of homework for this, but I decided I wasn't going to do any grades. I wanted to react off some of your what you guys do have as well. But yeah, I'm going to go with a C at the quarterback position, and here's the main reason why. I think that the main reason I'm going to go a C with the quarterback position is we sort of had an expectation of what was going to be, what this season was going to be based on how we ended last season. So our starting quarterback had a heck of a last 6 games for UTSA. He played really well. He managed the offense really well. He really started to find himself. He became a playmaker. We got to see what he can do with his legs. All of those sorts of things that I think that was really that just really showed his stuff, right? Really showed what he can do. And we just haven't seen that too much in this season so far. I think, yeah, he did some good things against UIW. But it's UIW, they're an FCS school, and they're just not very good this season. When you look at, against Texas State, he did some all right things at Texas State, but he just struggles to throw the ball. He struggles to throw accurate deep passes. I'm not even going to go down. I'm not going to get into the numbers and the percentages. Those of you who read my article this week, I will let you guys. I'll let you guys go view things in that article, but when you look at what he's done this season and you look at the numbers downfield, the downfield accuracy, and it's just been bad, right? Half the time it doesn't even look like we're on the same page with our receivers. When you look at the intermediate passing, it's just not been great. We haven't done a lot of it, but it's just not been great either. It's not been very accurate. It's not been sharp. Yeah, obviously, under 9 yards, he throws those pretty well. He's pretty good at the RPO slant pass, kind of like a slant route or whatever to Amador. We've seen him hit that with Amador. We've seen him hit that with McEwen a few times. They're not hitting the tight ends very well. He's missed on some big third down throws that we had guys open and he just wasn't able to deliver the ball. He hasn't been great under pressure. So yeah, it's just not been great. Now, I'm not going to give him like a total F or anything like that. I think that's unfair. I think a C is probably good, or it's probably fair. C plus is probably fair because Listen, he has given us opportunities and extended drives and done things with his legs that I think has been really good. He has taken care of the ball relatively well. He hasn't had a bunch of interceptions, even though the two interceptions he threw against Colorado State were inexcusable. Um, and some people are making this thing like, oh, he was hurt, and I'm like, yeah, pressure will do that to anybody. They'll make anybody look hurt if you just not up for it, right? So anyway, um, I just think he has a ways to go. I think he has a ways to go, and it's never a good thing when folks are starting to call for the backup quarterback. That's just never a good thing. And honestly, you know what? You could almost say a C plus because we've only seen the backup quarterback for a drive, and the backup quarterback came in for a drive against A&M and looked great. And that is not me trying to make a case that the backup should be the starter. I'm not necessarily trying to do that. What I'm saying is, I have to factor that into my grade. So C plus at the quarterback position. I think that's where we are. I can't give it anything higher than that. I expected it to be better. And the reason my grade is so low is because I thought that he started to do things well. He wasn't great throwing the ball downfield. I mean, 6 of his interceptions last year were on downfield throws, um, specifically in the middle of the field. But I just thought we'd see a higher level of play from that position based on what we've seen at the second half of the year, and we're not seeing that. Um, and I don't know. We'll just have to see. I think. Listen, I'll get on the offensive coordinator later, but I think some of the reason why this letter grade for the quarterback is low is because the coordinator's not giving them a lot of help. We'll go to the next position group, and that's the running backs. You got to give the running backs. I'm going to give the running backs an A plus. I don't see how you can't. And the reason I say that is like I think each running back has done what they have been asked to do, and I think they've done it relatively well. Obviously, Robert Henry. I can sing Robert Henry's praises. I can spend the rest of the show singing his praises if we're keeping it a buck, right? He's been amazing this year. He has single-handedly saved our season, in my opinion. If it wasn't for him, who knows where we'd be? Who knows what we haven't had great play from quarterback position and the pass catchers more, not consistently anyway. But the one constant that we have had um has been at that position, has been at that running back position. So A plus for the running back. Robert Henry has been amazing. He's a home run hitter, 70 plus yards. Every single game he's breaking for a big one like that. Nation's leading rusher. What? Like he's top shelf NFL. Everybody is talking about, they're comparing him to Ashton Genty and all these things. He has been amazing. He's been good in the open field once he gets to that second and third level. Once he does break, you're not catching him. He has made something out of nothing on runs. He's been a threat to catch the ball out the backfield. He has a 70-some yard touchdown at the backfield that was really pivotal to that victory against Colorado State last week. He has been the lightning rod for UTSA, and he's been UTSA's most valuable player, and it's not even close. So just shout out to Robert Henry and everything that he's doing. But I look at guys like Will Henderson Jr. I like that he's able to come in and spell Robert Henry, and there's a little bit of a different element to his game that I really like. And I think once he understands, like he's still wet behind the ears. You can tell by the way he runs the football, but you can see the talent, you can see the athleticism, and you can see that kid's going to be a big time player for us. And I actually think it's great for him to be in his complementary role to Robert Henry, and him being worked into the game the way he is. So I think he's going to be amazing. He's only going to get better as the season goes. Whenever you have a young like this bye week for Will Henderson is going to be great, because all right, he's had his first 4 games where he's a focal point of the offense and a person in the offense that is going to get carries. He's going to be involved. They're going to find a way to get him the ball in spots to where we can see his speed and get him, in some opportunities where he get to strut his stuff. So I think his numbers don't look as great as a Robert Henry's or anything like that, but I think he's come in and done a great job, considering he's still, a redshirt freshman out there coming in and making a big impact. So I even think it's huge that the new coach came in and looked at that kid and said, "Hey, that's going to be my second back behind Robert Henry." But Amarian Peterson too. He's coming in and asked to to do some of the dirty work. They brought him in for a goal line touchdown. He's sort of your physical change. He's a change of pace back in the inverse way, where he's coming in to just beat up people, and I think he's come in and done that well too. So hats off to that position group. They have been the standout position group of this season, and what a freaking coaching hire that we did picking up coach there. Um, Moving on to wide receivers. This is a tough one, but for the wide receivers, I can't give them higher than I think the wide receivers for me probably a C minus. Probably a C minus. Here's why. You know what? I'll take that back. I'll give them the same thing I'll give the quarterback. C, flat out C. Here's why. Outside of McEwen, AJ Wilson has shown up as well. But outside of those two, there's just not been a lot of action at that position. I mean, DJ Allen has done okay, um, but like, there's no who's been electric? Like, who's been electric at that position this season? McEwen has had some electric plays where he's getting you up. He'll get you up out of his seat. He's a great player. AJ Wilson has got us up out of our seat, but he's been someone who they haven't really. He didn't come into the season as someone that they penciled in and said he's going to be a part of everything we do, right? So, um, I think they have work to do to make sure we can get him more involved. But I actually think like Amador, we just haven't seen much of him in an effective way. You know, I expected a lot more explosivity from him. I expected him to do a lot more. We just hadn't seen it. We hadn't really seen it. So that's an interesting one to me. I was excited for the receivers. I know Coach Trailers talked about a lot of those guys are banged up, but they're still out there. Like, here's the thing: we're not getting separation. Period. We just don't. We don't get much separation from our even some of the electric plays we have. It's not like we're just wide open. They don't get much separation from the corners. They don't get much separation from the DBs. There's nothing ever that comes easy from that position right now. And yeah, it's a based. I can see the talent in all those guys that we have. Like we have a lot of talent in that position, but I don't know I don't know whose fault it is. I don't know if it's the coordinator. I don't know if it's a quarterbacking issue. I don't know what it is, but I don't feel like we're getting the most out of that group. I mean, McEwen and AJ Wilson have been the standouts in that position group, but they're not getting McEwen the ball enough. He needs more touches. Like that you should be able to pencil that kid in for, you know, 7 catches a game. And I'm not joking. You can do that type of thing in college. 5 to 7 catches a game, but he's not getting that. And I don't think it's his fault because I think he's done well this year. I think he's done well relative to the opportunity he's gotten, but I don't think he's gotten a lot of good opportunity. And I also think they are asking him to do things that's not his strengths. Like, he can go and be a downfield threat, but that's not his strength. In my opinion, his strength is intermediate. He's an intermediate guy, a guy that you want to get the ball and let him cook after the catch. Um, but yeah, C for that group. Going to the tight ends. The tight ends is a tricky one for me. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go because we had some drops at tight end as well. To be fair, uh, The tight ends are a large part of they have blocked very well on the edge. I'm gonna go B minus for the tight ends. And I think the tight ends are listen, they're not doing bad. I think they're doing okay, but they're also not getting the looks that they were getting before, in previous seasons. That's a problem whenever I think that like we got three of the best tight ends that you can find. They can literally do anything. So it's a little disappointing that we aren't getting them a little bit more involved and we're not getting them involved earlier in game. I mean, we got them involved early last game and then they just went away from them, right? Like, Hunter Thomas should be getting more touches. We should be looking for Overmeyer more. We should be looking for Dishman more. These are really, really good and talented players that I don't think we're getting the best out of those guys either. It's like, here's what I would say offensively. And I've talked about this before, and y'all heard me go off about this in the watch along last week. When you consider the talent that we had coming back, and because we brought back all of those starters, right? When you think about that, even though we've put up some points, I'll put this question on y'all who's here. And I know it's not a ton of us here today because it's a bye week. But for those of you who are with me, do y'all feel like outside of like excluding Robert Henry and the running backs, but if you look at our pass catchers, our tight ends, and our receivers, do you think we've gotten the most out of that group, out of those groups? Do you feel like we are utilizing them to the point to where we're allowing them to get their talent out there and show their talent? Do y'all feel that? Because I don't. I don't think we've utilized the tight ends well enough. Like I don't even have this off the top of my head, but I felt like we hit the tight ends on a seam ball over the middle twice, 2-3 times a game, every single game last year. Once we started rolling as an offense. And it's always been something that we've been doing. I mean, Frank Harris is really good at that. Over the middle. I mean, there was a thing, it was a staple of McCown last year. He was hitting those tight ends over the middle on seam balls. They run cover three. We're in trips. We're gonna hit that seam ball. It's gonna be a tight end every time. Just not seeing that. Just not seeing that. They have blocked really well on the perimeter. I thought I've seen them do really, really good at that. And they deserve credit for helping out in the run blocking as well. So B minus for the tight ends. I think we can get so much more out of that group because I think all three of those guys are uber talented. On the offensive line gets an A for me. I'm sorry. That might be unpopular to say, but some people are like, McCown has been sacked twice this year, I think. I could be wrong about that stat, but I'm going off the head on what I'm just thinking about. I love if somebody can confirm that on the stats for me, but I think McCown has only been sacked twice, y'all. Twice in 4 games. That's really good. Considering years past and those sorts of things, that's really good. When you look at the lanes they've opened up for the best running back in the country right now, how can you give them anything less? They deserve it. Listen, people have thrown so many slugs to the offensive line for years. You can't do that this year. It was what I saw in people complaining over this past couple of weeks. People were frustrated and they're saying like they're getting frustrated with the offensive coordinator and they're getting frustrated with the coordinator, they get frustrated with the quarterback. And then they'll just group in the offensive line to that. And I'm like, no. You can't just do that. You can't just do that. The offensive line has been solid, bro. They've been solid as a rock, and I hope it continues. Shout out to all those guys. I know we got some injuries and things like that, so that's very worrisome right now. But like the offensive line has been great. I promise I'm gonna get to y'all's questions, get them in. I just want to go through all my grades first before I get to the questions. Moving on to the defensive side of the ball. All right, so defensive line. That's a tricky one. Defensive line, I'm probably gonna go. UTSA has a high bar for defensive line, bro. I think our interior guys have done all right. We've done relatively well stopping the run this year. I wish I could just do front seven and then secondary, but I'm gonna go through each position. Defensive line, I'm gonna say I'm in between a C plus and a B minus, somewhere in there. I can't. I don't know. The defense is giving up 30 points again. I mean, I think they did some good. They did some good work last week. I might get crushed for this, but I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go B minus for the defensive line. The reason I'm gonna do that is because there's a lot of new. I mean, obviously, it's brand new faces on that defensive line. They got to hit. They got to get out to the quarterback more. They did get out to the quarterback quite a bit last week, which was promising and good to see. They've been really good at stuffing the run. I think the interior guys have done a good job at winning some of their matches and not giving up much ground. We've done we've had some pretty big plays on some third and short situations that I think that has helped us out. They've done a lot of the dirty work to free up some of the linebackers to make some plays as well. So I think from a defensive line standpoint, I think there's room to improve because UTSA typically has great defensive lines. But I mean, our guy, I cannot pronounce his name, but he went off last week. I can't. There's no way I can give them a C from that performance that he put out. So I think there's promise there. I think I can see the talent. I think they're getting better. They have sort of improved. They've been sort of steady, at least from a run standpoint. But they got to get out to the quarterback. The ends got to get out the quarterback. They started to do that last week, so that's all right. So I'm gonna go B minus on the D line. May not be popular, but I'm gonna go with that. As far as the linebackers, I just think they got to be better. Even though we've done good against the run, I'm probably gonna go C plus with the linebackers. I think they've done some all right things. I mean, Shad Banks is a really good player. I mean, it's hard to a C minus is probably harsh, but I just think some of the other guys, he's been all around the ball, but I think some of the other guys got to really lock in and we just we got to shed blocks better. We got to read. We got to we got to we there's some plays especially against A&M, yeah, and well Texas State too, where it's really difficult to watch some of those plays in the run game and watch some of the things our linebackers did. And for whatever reason, that's stuck in my head still. But you know what? They probably deserve a B minus. They probably deserve a B minus like the D line. Our front seven has been okay. They've been okay. They haven't been great, but they haven't been okay, or they have been okay. And we've some of our better players and the players that have made some of the biggest plays are in those positions. So I want to give them guys a nod for showing up and doing well there. So yeah, I'll go B minus for those guys. And then we move to what do we got next? We'll go cornerback position. The cornerbacks, that's they get a. I'm just gonna say secondary in general, because I just think they've been actually no, because there's some things I want to clean up. So I'm gonna go D minus for the corners. That could be me just like wanting them, being tough on them because I was a former corner and I look at that and I'm like, these guys should be way better than this at this particular point in time. I just think they have given me no confidence that they're going to consistently stop anything. I think Davin Martin has started to play a little bit better as the season has progressed. He had an interception against UIW. He had a really good play deep downfield on the right side, I believe, against on a deep ball against Colorado State, but they just haven't been consistent, man. Whenever Colorado State switched quarterbacks, they got carved up. You know, I just think they're struggling. Anything. I think they're just struggling. They got to find themselves. I think getting pressure on a quarterback will obviously help them, but they got to find themselves. And I think it's just going to be tough. At the safety position, I'm going to go D plus. They got to do better. They've been awful in coverage, but I'm giving them a D plus because I think for the most part, they are supporting the run in the box well. Tyan Milton, I really just like his physicality and how he puts his body on the line. He's somebody that I just hope that he figures it out. And he's a really he can be a really impactful player. But they just got to clean things up. Jimmy Ward too. I think Jimmy Ward has done some really good things too. He's fit the run pretty good, but they haven't covered anything this year. And they have trouble tackling receivers once they start running. I know it's not easy, but when a receiver catches the ball, the whole secondary just act like they can't tackle. They take bad angles and they just do crazy stuff. So they just got to do better in that. And then special teams. I'm gonna just grade our special teams in general, and I'm just gonna say C minus. Just not good enough. Not good enough. Although our kicker has been better than advertised. Um, but our kick coverage has been crap all season for the most part. I'm just not very confident in our special teams unit, and we got to get better. So, moving on to coaches. I'm gonna go for the coordinators, and then I'm gonna go with the coordinators first, and then I'm gonna go with Coach Traylor at the end. So OC with Burke, Justin Burke. I can't give him higher than a C. I just can't, and I even think that's generous. But the reason I'm not gonna go lower on that is because he has put up some points. We put up enough points to beat Texas State. Period. We lost, but you can't be letting teams score 40 points. Like we scored 36 or whatever we scored, like you got to win that football game. So like his situational play calling is just not great to me. He, for whatever reason, we can't complete a downfield pass. Just the truth. We can't we just look very unconvincing on offense. I'm just calling a spade a spade. We look very unconvincing to me on offense. I don't feel inspired about the play calls on third down. If we have a third and anything beyond 6, you might as well get the punt team ready because we're not great at converting third and long situations. Nobody is great at converting those like that. But because we're so bad on third down, it makes some of the first and second down calls are like head scratchers when they don't work. Third and 4, third and 5, third and 6, we do an obvious zone play. And I know the thinking is, we're in the middle of the field. We'll probably go for it on fourth down. So let's just try to get a couple yards. How many times are we not going to get a couple yards before you say, hey, let me just try to pick this up by passing the ball or something? I'm just not convinced on him. And the fact that we scored 17, whatever we scored against 17 points against Colorado State. To be fair, Colorado State's defensive coordinator had us schemed up. But that's the point. That's the thing. It's like, are we not? Come on, bro. Like we got to be able to adjust. We got to be able to figure things out and adjust. And they're gonna say, "Hey, I'm gonna blame the players because they didn't execute." Yes, you can blame the players to a degree, but it's ultimately your job to make sure they execute, make sure things are simplistic for them, make sure you're getting the calls in, make sure everybody's communicating properly, making sure that the offense isn't putting us in a situation where we got to burn wild timeouts in really crucial points of the game. Like these are just I'm not saying anything that anybody else can't see. I'm not saying anything that's like secretive or a casual person can't figure out themselves. I'm not saying anything super high level. I could, but I'd probably bore y'all if I went down every single. I watched all of these games so many times. I could give you play after play after play after play after play where I'm like, this dude doesn't have a clue. It's just me. This is my opinion. I'm not on the Fire Burke train like everybody. There are people campaigning for that. I ain't got nothing to do with that. But what I do got something to do with is my opinion. And I'm not a fan. But to be fair, like I said, he's put up points in some of these games. He's put up enough points for us to win 2 games, won the FBS game. Colorado State, I mean, I guess we only needed 17 to beat them. So I guess he did his job. He got to be better. We should have, although that defense did play us well, he's still got to put up more points. But our offense doesn't. I mean, y'all let me know in the comments. Are y'all inspired by our offense at all? I doubt it. I've seen everybody on Twitter. Y'all let me know. Jess Lip, defensive coordinator. You can't. I mean, you got to give him a D. The defense has been. They've done some good things, but like I know it sounds bad, but that Colorado State offense was so bad. It was so bad, bro. I tried to show them some respect in the preview of this. What was I saying? I was like, we should take care of this team. This team shouldn't beat us. And the reason I said that, I actually thought that defense you could see on defense that they had something going there, but like offensively, they're just poor. They're not a good offense. So, they were playing a quarterback that couldn't do anything, and then they brought in a competent quarterback afterwards, and he ripped us apart. So that's a problem. Couldn't stop. Texas State did whatever they wanted with us. A&M did whatever they wanted to us, and then we let the backup quarterback from UIW come in and do what they want to do what they wanted to us. Unacceptable. Can't happen. He has a little bit more. He has more of a leash for me because I've seen. I feel like I understand his philosophy and what a good defense looks like to him. I feel like I understand. I've never met this man. I've never talked to him before, but I can see what he's trying to do. Like I can see how he's trying to approach teams' offenses and what situations he's trying to put his players in. I completely see it. And that's why I have a little bit more patience, because I'm like, okay, I see the formula. The players got to see out the formula and perform, but I see what he's trying to do. Burke, I can't see what he's trying to do. And Coach Traylor, Coach Traylor grade is interesting, but I'm gonna go C plus. I don't think Coach Traylor's had the greatest start to the year either. Here's why I'll say that. Number one, he manages these guys. So that's a thing, right? Both these coordinators, I think, are struggling, and that's his responsibility. So that's one thing. The second thing, one of the things I think he has going for him is everybody still believes in him. And the coaches want to play for him. I mean, I said coaches, the players want to play for him, and the players aren't quitting on him. And that's a really big deal. I don't take that for granted, and nobody should. So I think he still is instilling that belief in everybody, myself included. And I think that's a big, you want your head coach to be they have to wear so many hats, but a motivator is a big hat. And, keeping people interested and bought into what you guys are selling. That's the people in the locker room. That's the people around covering the team. And that's fans too. Keeping everybody engaged and locked into what UTSA is doing, is a big part of his job. And I think he's doing all right at some of that, but it's been as good as other years. I think that there's a lot of people questioning his loyalty right now. I'm not big on all of that type of stuff, but listen, some of it you can't ignore, some of the hires that he's made and some of the people that he's put. I mean, listen, there's a lot of flack about I can't share all the stuff that comes my way, but a lot of people who don't like the quarterback coach. They just don't think he's the right guy. And they have brought some compelling evidence to me to make those points that I can't ignore. I haven't even thought about it, but some of the cases people are making to me, I get it. I get some of the frustration, and I get why they make those, right? I think the coordinators, obviously, more so on the Burke side, but there's a lot of people who are up in arms about his decision with that. And everybody's talking about his loyalty and all these things, even this loyalty to the quarterback thing. I think he's not. I do think he's miss. I think the quarterback situation, the way he's handling the quarterback situation, I feel like I understand what he's doing. And but here's a couple of things. Here's where I think he's messing up on a quarterback situation. Just my thoughts. My thoughts may not mean anything, but this is just the way I look at it. And I think the quarterback situation is where I give him a little bit. I take points away. I am not questioning who he's starting. I don't think we should question that. But there's a few comments that he's made that it's just I can't wrap my head around it. Number one, when you go into an interview and you say, "Well, we're happy we got our starter, and I hope that we never see our backup play." And I get what he means, right? You don't want your starter to go down like you have a guy that you've built the offense around in the starting quarterback, and you don't want to see your backup play from the standpoint of you don't want your starter to get hurt. But I think you got to be careful about that because everybody is watching. And what does a quarterback who maybe be interested in what does a transfer quarterback who may be interested in UTSA think about that? How would that make them feel? Also, when you take into consideration that when they do, I mean, they don't want Brandon Tennyson to run a play so bad they're burning timeouts when someone, the quarterback's helmet goes off. Now, one of them was a third down. I get it. I don't think they all were, but you burn the timeout so this guy can't even. I mean, if you're gonna hand off the ball, he can hand off the ball, right? So some of that's mind-boggling to me. Like I said, people see that, people notice that. I have been asked about that from people who have quarterbacks who are interested in UTSA, who have quarterbacks with offers who are interested in or just have their eyes on UTSA. I've been asked about that. I've been asked about why didn't the backup quarterback get a real opportunity against UIW when we were up 3 touchdowns with, a couple minutes left. I've been asked a lot of questions about how that situation is managed because you did let him get in against A&M and he did well. So it appears that I don't know if you're trying to protect your starter by not bringing somebody in garbage time and letting them cook or what, but I just think that's not managed well. To me, I mean, I don't know what's really going on, but to me, you're not. If I'm a quarterback, I'm not going to want to come to UTSA as long as McCown's here. How could you? He could. It seems like no matter what's happening, I don't know. Anyway, that situation, I think some of his comments, and I don't. This is the first time that I've been really clued into the coaches' interviews. Y'all know how I am. I don't like the whole coaches' interviews. I don't like to listen to the coach talk. I like to hear him right after the game. I don't depending on what question is asked, I like to hear him after the game because I want to see okay, are they going to be authentic or not? But a lot of the times, they're not really authentic. Some of it, I think there's a couple of things, and this might be normal, but like I said, I purposely don't like to watch some of the stuff, but some of the stuff he kind of fired back at Greg Luca about was a little off-putting to me. I don't know. C plus for him though. Anyway, those are all of my grades. Let me know in the comments what you think. Was I too soft? Did I get some grades wrong? What do y'all think in the comments for those of you who've heard them all? But I'll go through all of your comments and questions now. Ivan says quarterback D, running back A- outside of Robert Henry, no production. Uh, I don't agree with that. I think there's been some production from Will Henderson, but these guys were asked to do three different things. Actually, I mean, obviously you heard what I said. He said he goes offensive line B, defensive line D. Interesting. DBC. I'd flip those if I was like, I don't see how you can say the DBs is done better than the D line. Me personally, maybe it's sacks related. Okay, C for the linebacker, kicker D, punter D, wide receiver and tight end C and B. Okay, not mad at it. How much of the blame should be on the head coach? He's done so much for UTSA, but his team lacks discipline, and he hasn't been able to do anything about his coordinators being terrible. I mean, this is a great question, and I think he deserves a boatload of blame too. I mean, listen, he's not above criticism. He shouldn't ever be above criticism. Nobody's above criticism. Yeah, he's not been. I mean, our team has not been what has been advertised to us, right? Think about it. It hasn't been. When you think about like, obviously, we have a lot more of the season to go, so let's like keep it in its proper perspective. But what did Coach Traylor say in the spring? Do y'all remember this? One of his biggest quotes in the spring was, "Hey, we got guys now that we're gonna take a lot more deep shots. We're going to stretch the field vertically a lot more this season." Remember he said that? He said that this spring, we're going to stretch the ball down the field a lot more than we have in the past. That's going to be a pivotal part of our game. It's just not. It's just not that way. Um, we've been it's been this thing about our offense, our offense, our offense. Our offense hasn't evolved. It doesn't look evolved at all. It does not look like I don't see innovation when I see our offense. You can predict almost. I mean, maybe I'm watching. I've watched a little bit too much, and I've taken a little bit too many notes. But I can almost call what we're gonna do. I mean, we're so predictable. I mean, you can watch the watch along. There's a few plays I called out. Like you can tell what's going to happen when this person is in this formation at this particular point in time. Those people on the other side are going to know these things, and those players are going to know these things because they've probably watched this stuff. They not even probably they watched their stuff a ton more than I have. And I'm like, anytime that is happening consistently, like there's something's not working, and it's going to get exposed. That's the part that I'm worried about. Like these things are going to get exposed. Um, in a bad time. But yeah, I think he has a lot. There's a lot of blame thrown his way, and it should be thrown his way at this point. I'm not like trailer out or anything like that. Absolutely not. But this non-conference campaign by them has not painted him in glory up to this point. Browntown says, "What do you think about using McCown more in the running game, like standard read option and even some triple option with our wide receiver?" You could do that, but I don't think he's the kind of runner that would be effective in those types of situations. He has legs, but if you notice, he's not very shifty. He can run straight line all right whenever you know there's the pocket breaks down and he's able to like find a lane for himself. But when you start like you need it's a different type of skill set to have somebody doing the read option and they're pulling and running and then trying to make moves on the outside and things like that. And he's frail. He's picked up a lot more weight. He looks a lot bigger than he was last season, but he's not the biggest guy out there. You don't want him taking a ton of hits, especially if the coach says, "I don't want to see my backup. I only want to see, I only want my only, I only want to see my starter." You're not going to risk him at all, like in those ways. So you got to think about that as well. ATX said it won't be a good week for Texas State's mental health. Mike Gundy was fired yesterday, and UTSA fans have plenty of free time on X since it's a bye week. Time to push Kenny to OSU propaganda. Yeah, I don't want anything to do with that. I can care less about Texas State and what Kenny does. If Kenny takes that opportunity, I mean, he's probably I think it was nice to see Traylor come out and say that, like, hey, I'm not gonna take that job. I mean, that is what he's supposed to do as a coach. But or that's what he's supposed to say as a coach. But I'm not too interested in like why would you want listen, I want Texas State to be as good as they can beat them I want them to be as good as they can be so we can beat that. Like I don't believe in like, oh, let's get Kenny out so Texas State can go back to being crap. I actually don't. It's not the way I look at it. I'm sure OSU will reach out to Traylor, and I really don't care because I think Traylor has lost that P4 ticket due to how poor the coaching has been this season. Kenny is a hot commodity at the moment. I mean, Kenny is probably the hot commodity at the moment. I bet Traylor is still a hot commodity. Like we are very close to what's going on and we are emotionally attached to it, but you got to understand these other folks aren't. They see the type of coach he is. They understand his situation. They understand he's working with limited resources. They understand what he's built UTSA up to be. You can't be great in every single situation. I guarantee he's a hot commodity. And if he wanted to go to the P4, I'm pretty sure he'd be able to. Cody says this next Temple game is a crossroads. A win means our ceiling is at least better than the bad conference teams. It's hope, but a loss is projecting a possible sub 500 conference record in my. Yeah, I have not done tape study on Temple yet, so I will have that done for y'all next week. But listen, it's a team that we should have some success against. But I'm not taking nothing for granted, bro. You never know. You just never know. I thought UTSA would run over Colorado State, and I was wrong. I think some of the things I wasn't wrong about some of the struggles and some of the things I was concerned about, but I just thought we were that much better than them, and we weren't. We weren't. So I'm not going to take that Temple game. I haven't seen their tape yet, but I'm not going to take the Temple game for granted either. Mike says, at this point, I'm okay if Traylor gets an offer and takes it from the P4 team. Campos has proven she has an eye for hiring good coaches. I'm confident we can find a great replacement. I mean, listen, that is going to inevitably happen at some point. And I think yes, Campos can. She does have an eye for hiring good coaches. She certainly does that. So we'd be fine. I think UTSA would be a great job to take. But I don't think he's going anywhere. Not this season, anyway. Alan, I do not know how to pronounce your last name, bro. I do not know how to pronounce his last name. We talk a little bit on Twitter here and there. Shout out to Alan here. Appreciate you tapping in, man. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and like the video, man. Thanks for showing love. Eric said, I saw JJ Perez had us finish 6-2 the rest of the way. Interesting. What do you think as of now for what we've seen? 6-2 the rest of the way. So I'll go through UTSA's remaining schedule and see if I can find 6 games for us. I don't know if I can find 6 for us, man. I'm not super confident in what we bring to offer. So I think Temple is a. I mean, I don't know. Based on what I think, Temple should be a winnable game. Based on what I know of Temple in general, but I like to look at the tape and determine from that. But I'm going to be watching a lot of football this week to sort of scout some of the other teams. But I mean, you like to think we can beat that team, but you kind of never know. I think Rice is up in the air because they're just weird and they like sneakily cause us problems. I mean, they caused us problems last year. So if you're optimistic, like if you want to be super optimistic, you can say that's a win, but that's not based on the way our team has looked. I'm not penciling that in as a win. I don't think we're going to beat North Texas at North Texas based on the way they're playing. I'm just listen, UTSA will have to show me something for me to say, yeah, we're going to go in and beat North Texas. Because, yeah, I don't know how feasible that is. I just got to call right now in the season. I don't know how feasible that is. So I can't mark that as a guaranteed victory. I'd be more, until I see more, I'd be more worried that that's a loss. So right now I'm I'm gonna mark Temple for a win. Rice is a coin flip based on what I see from what I've seen from UTSA. North Texas is not looking good. Tulane is not looking good. They're coming into the dome. Tulane right now is not. That's not looking like a very fun game for UTSA against Tulane. So I don't know if I can pencil that as a victory. I can't pencil. I sure can't pencil South Florida as a victory right now. Yeah, can't do that. Can't do that. It's not something I can pencil in. Charlotte, maybe. Yeah. Charlotte, I'd be okay with penciling that one in as a win. Okay. Um East Carolina. I think they're coming to the dome. That's a tricky one because offensively they've done some good things. I'm gonna check out that they play Army tomorrow. That's a tricky game. That I mean, we'll see what we're looking like there. But I can't pencil that in, and I sure can't pencil in Army. I can pencil in 2 games. This is not me saying that we will only win 2 games for the rest of the season. I'm just telling you what I can pencil in based on what I've seen. I can pencil in Temple. I can pencil in Charlotte. That puts us at 4. Rice, I can't pencil that in as much as people will be like, oh my God, like, it's Rice. Like, they beat us last year, guys. In the game we should have won, but they beat us. They beat us, and they're in that same caliber. They're in that same boat. You can't pencil that in. You can't pencil in any of the other ones. Like, okay, if I go on coin flip games, then you throw in Rice and you throw in, because we got those in the dome too, Rice and East Carolina. So that puts us up to 4. That gives us a bowl game. That gives us a 6-6. And then we'd have North Texas away, South Florida away, Army in the dome, which Army's not looking. It seems like Army can be had this year, so that could be a victory. It seems like they're not as strong, but Tulane in the dome. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I can say 6-2, but like, I can see a world where we get 3 wins, and I can see a world where we get 5. 6 is harder for me to see. Cody says, Mike, I understand what you're. Oh, okay. I'm gonna leave that to you guys. The nerdy drummer boy says our passing game looks horrible, so no. There you go. I'm with you. It feels like we just run screenplays every time we throw the ball. It seems disconnected. You're not wrong. Mike says we have underutilized tight ends. We have NFL talent in that position. Yep, they're not making me look great because I've been singing that all off season that I think we have NFL players in that tight end room. Eric says I think Owen hasn't played well, but it's a Burke play. It's Burke's play calling just completely limits our potential for our. Yeah, absolutely. His play call is not great. To me, it's just not my preference. It's not my preference. Yeah, and that's just what it is, right? Like, saying it's not great is subjective, but it's just not my preference. I think we can do better. Will Henderson, shout out to Will Henderson. He says we have a lot of strengths that are being hindered. I agree. And it is unfortunate, my friend. I think, yeah, you guys are dealing with the coordinator is just not helping you guys out. But I will say for the running backs, I think here's the thing. I'd like to see Will Henderson actually get more, and he just made me think about this, but I'd like to see his son get a lot more, some more of the screenplays. I concur with Eric. How many wins do you see us getting out of the next 8? Yeah. Guys, anywhere from 3 to 5. I cannot see 6. Right now, today, I can't. That could change because we could show more, but right now, today, I can't see more than 5, and I can see as little as 3. Is OK State gonna hire Kenny? I'd love to see that. No idea. I'm not interested. It's Rap says too much pressure this game. Had McCown scared, which lead. Oh, had McCown scared, which led to that last interception. Like last year, he lost trust this game with his O-line, with the O-line. Henry's making the O-line look better. No, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. Go back and look at Go back and look at Henry's. Go back and look at Henry's like his long runs and some of his runs, and see how many times he doesn't get touched until he has to juke a safety or juke somebody at this. Like, look at him getting to the second level without a scratch on him. Yeah, it's Rab. We disagree a lot of the times, but this is just wrong. This comment here, he's making the O-line look way better, looking better than they are. No. Explain to me 2 sacks over the course of 4 games. No. They're pass blocking relatively well also, but I don't want to hear they're not Henry's making the O-line. Nah. That's just incorrect. Henry did a lot of jumping back and making something into nothing. He does do that. You're not wrong there. But yeah, you're not wrong that he's a great running back that can be dynamic. But to say he's making all these runs just out of a whim, you have to have, there's, like I said, you look at some of these plays, he's not getting a finger laid on him and sometimes at all, because he just jukes the safety that's trying to come in and make an open field tackle, and he's out to the races. Yeah. Everybody doesn't have an offensive line that's able to create that type of space. And you cannot take that for granted. And those are the sorts of things that's how narratives start that just don't need to exist. And yeah, fire that QB coach. That doctor had no experience other than knowing Traylor. You're not the first person that's been telling me that. A lot of people, you know what? There's a particular person. I'm gonna try to. I don't know. We'll see. There's some evidence that I got, or I'm saying evidence like it's a case. But there's someone who made a compelling case to me about why this quarterback coach should not be the quarterback coach. But I feel like if I went too deep into all of the stuff that he sort of presented to me, it may expose who the person is. But I'm gonna ask him if they care. I agree, it's rare. We need to fire someone. Salvador Rodriguez says these wide receivers struggle to break away in these routes. This is absolutely correct. Our wide receivers are not creating much space, and that's a problem. So you're correct about that 100%, Salvador. Traylor hasn't named any names, but he has said we've been out coached at times this year and out schemed. Absolutely. What did I go back to the Texas State game? What was the first thing I said? We got out coached. It wasn't the play. Listen, they got really good players also. UTSA has really good talent also. When the players clashed, they were relatively equal, depending on which way you want to look at it. Texas State has a claim to say they had the better talent. We have a claim to say we had the better talent. But there was what won and lost us the game was those people in the booth. Those coaches in the booth decided that game. Last week, that defensive coordinator had our offensive coordinator just making a mockery of himself. We can't handle the pressure. What did I say coming into that game? UTSA is going to be under a lot of pressure. Look at what that guy puts on tape. So, hi, Darren. How was your day? My day was all right. Busy. My days are always busy. Work. My day job is tough. It's a tough one, y'all. And I'm starting grad school in about a month. So, yeah, going back to school after what? How many years? 11 years. But I'm doing it. Ivan says Owen knows he won't be benched, and it shows. He has no fire to get better without the pressure of losing his spot. He played a benchable game against Colorado State and didn't. Yeah, he did. I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree. Yeah, He did play a benchable game against Colorado State. I believe so. Yeah, yeah. I don't think he's playing thinking that he's like, oh, I'm not gonna get benched, so I'm gonna do whatever I can. But I'm sure he knows that there's no pressure on him in that way. Traylor said they kept running from on purpose from the non-conference game. So I'm guessing they will not open the playbook. They will not open the playbook finally for the rest of the season. What is there to open? They're not trying to they're not holding back. I don't buy that they're holding back anything, bro. They're probably gonna leave some things for conference, but they're not holding back much. They want to win these games. You think they were gonna actually hold something back against the Texas State game with 40 something thousand people in it? Nah, I don't buy that. That's what I mean. If he said that, um, I mean, I couldn't read your message because the message is kind of like written weird. Traylor said they kept him from running on purpose for the non-conference game, so I'm guessing they will not open up the playbook finally for the rest of the season. Yeah, the question is a little weird here, but if I'm tracking where you're going with it, this is one of the main reasons why I don't. They're gonna say anything. Bring in Will Stein and Traylor Lees. I'm kind of ready for a new head coach. I don't know if I'm ready for a new head coach, but I'm not ready for a new head coach, to be fair. 6-2 is possible because of the American buns. The American is buns. You mean bums? I don't think the American's bad. I think the American's actually pretty good this season. Our O line has looked amazing in run blocking through the first few games, but hasn't really impressed me in pass pro. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know if I can. Compared to last year at this time, they've impressed me in pass pro. But look back at the rest of his plays. He did a lot of that. If you to take those TDs, which one's through the line, the other off to the side, a lot was Henry moving like a god. I mean, no. I mean, yes, he's allowed to make his own plays, but he also gets 5 and 6 yards also because he ran the ball because the run blocking was relatively every play is not going to be a home run. You can't just say, "Hey, he's only like." Here's the thing: these 70 something yard rushes have literally won us the game. Like they have literally been the reason we're involved in any of these games or even won us the games. So like you can't belittle that or take that for granted is what I'm saying. Yes, everything is not going to work out perfectly, but like offensive lines have to be able to create lanes for you to be able to do that in the first place. Don't take that for granted. That's not something to take. That's not something to take for granted. Henry's a great runner. He's a great playmaker. He can make something out of nothing. And there are times that he has done that, right? I don't disagree with that at all. My main point is that like shrugging off the offensive line and saying that this guy's just making them look good. It's just I mean, that's just not true. Just not true. Where are you going to grad school? I'm going to Southern Indiana University for grad school. Yeah, they have a program, a MBA for artificial intelligence program that I was really interested in. That type of program has been really difficult to find because not a lot of there's not a lot of MBA programs that offers that concentration. And the ones who do, it is way too expensive. Yeah, I'm paying out of pocket and I do not plan on going into debt. So I'm not like gonna go. I think they have one at like Hopkins or something like that, and like some other bigger schools. I think like Penn State or something has a program like that. But I'm not paying 80 grand. It's just not happening. Not no. But yeah, Southern Indiana, I'm excited about it. Those people those people were really nice. I'm excited about the program, the curriculum, and all those things. So yeah, I'm excited. Henry has learned to wait and when to take. Henry has to learn to wait and when to take. Again, making the O line look better this game. O-line was fine the last few games, but then I learned that the O-line went down. So it makes sense why they were weaker this game. I just don't agree. And that's okay. We can agree to disagree. I appreciate your comments always, it's Rab. You make this fun. JJ says, anyways, we should have left Justin Burke in Colorado. Coach JT has put crazy athletes. Let's put crazy athletes in every part of this offense, and he can't do anything with it. He needs to be better. I'll just leave it at that. He really, 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 really needs to be better. SIU Salukas football. Let me see. I don't think so. I don't think this school has a football team, actually. No, they don't. USI, University of Southern. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if that's what you're actually talking about. But yeah, no, it's that's not the squad. That's your GOAT. Who's your GOAT? I don't know. Anyway, thank y'all for being here. Yeah, I know I went over a little bit. We had some people coming to the chat. This was fun as always. So yeah, next week, same time, I'll have the film broken down by then. We'll talk more specifically about the Temple game. I might have a little bit of cool content for you guys at the end of the week, maybe. Stay on the lookout for that. And if you're not in a Discord, either today, later tonight, or tomorrow, I'm going to drop the player grades. I'm going to go player by player, at least starters anyway, and give grades on some of the ones that I've been able to watch quite a bit. So anyway, be on the lookout for that as well. But thank you guys. Y'all have a great rest of your evening. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.